All I'm doing is sharing my opinions. I'm just sharing what I have found has worked for me in my life, and just hoping that maybe it will help somebody else. So I'm definitely not an expert in relationships. I've never done anything, any studies on it. Basically, I didn't even have any boyfriends, growing up. I had one serious boyfriend and 2 husbands, and that's it, okay? But I've learned things over the course of my life, and I just want to share it with you. So today is going to be one of the first ones that I do about relationships. And when I'm talking about relationships, it can be any relationship. I'm not always talking about a husband and wife, even though, because that's my reality, I may talk about that more. I want you to know that these same facts and advice and guidance that I give you could go for any 2 human beings that are in a living relationship together, whether it's 2 best friends and roommates in college, or 2 guys, 2 girls, a big group house, at like a sorority house, something. It doesn't matter. Anytime you are in a living space with someone else, the relationship can be affected and the relationship can be changed. And so I have found that this is one way that can help to stop an argument before it happens, or mitigate one at least. Have you ever had a best friend that maybe you have been best friends forever, you've done everything together, then you go to college and you room together, and the relationship changes and you're just like, oh goodness gracious, things are totally different now, and it may harm the relationship or change it in some way, or sometimes it will actually destroy the whole relationship from when you live together. So this idea of the chore list is something to help you stop the fight before it starts, to try not for there to be resentment. Because a lot of times what happens is when people don't do this and don't negotiate a chore list, resentment builds up in one person who may feel like they're doing things they shouldn't do, or they think they're doing everything and the other person isn't doing anything. And so that resentment eats away at the relationship. And what happens a lot of times is the other person has no clue. They don't even know that someone's feeling the resentment, because it might be someone who doesn't express their feelings and doesn't have a fight, and they think everything's fine. Have you ever talked to a couple that, like they get a divorce and one of them is saying, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden she said it was over. It could be resentment that's building up. So in today's society, okay, it's 2017. It's not like the 50s anymore. We don't have families where mom stays home, raises the kids, takes care of the house, cooks the dinner, wears the dress and the pearls. My grandma was like that. The husband goes to work, he comes home, they give him the slippers, the cigar, and the dog by him. No, that's on TV, all right? That is gone forever. In today's society, we have single parent homes. We have even people that are together, they both need to work, okay? So when that is the case, you have to negotiate. Now, even if you're a person who does get to stay home, all right, you're staying home all day, you're working your butt off, and then the resentment grows then, because when the person comes home from work, they're off the clock, all right? They get home from work and they're like, I'm relaxed and I'm not working anymore. And then the person who's been staying home, they still working. They don't have an off the clock. They don't have a punch out time, okay? So then that resentment builds if you don't have this chore list. So this has worked tremendously for me and my husband. I'm telling you, it has been amazing. We have actually renegotiated our list 4 times in our 20 almost 21 years of marriage. What you do is you make a list of everything that needs to get done. Okay, there's a lot of things, okay? You got laundry, you got dishes, you got grass cutting, you got shopping, you got cooking, you got the garbage, you got pets maybe. And if you have kids, you got to add feeding them, bathing them, dressing them, bringing them to school, picking them up from school, bringing them to daycare, whatever it is. There's lots of things to get done. What you do is you list it all, and then you just start talking about it. What would you like to do? What is okay for you to do? It amazes me that some people don't do this. They don't talk about it, so then you don't even realize it. When we started talking about it the very first time, it was like, well, he loves to cut the grass. Okay, loves to cut the grass. He cuts our neighbor's grass, okay, because he loves it. If I wouldn't know that, I might think, wow, I'm going to help him out and I'm going to get somebody to come cut the grass for him. Yeah, he would hate that, okay? I said from the beginning, if you marry me, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't cook, all right? So he said, not a problem, you know, we'll eat out, I'll cook, you know, my mom feeds us all the time, you know, so we worked that out. The things that you find out too is like, I was like in the beginning, I did all the laundry because I like to do the laundry. It's not a problem. It doesn't bother me, right? My husband, it doesn't bother him to wash dishes. For the longest time, our dishwasher was broken. It ended up being something we just didn't even check, but it wasn't a problem. We didn't get it checked for the longest time because he likes to wash dishes. It wasn't a problem. So if you don't talk about it and find out, okay, for me, if I had to wash dishes, no, I'm not a dishwasher. I don't want to wash dishes, okay? But like I said, laundry, no problem. I do a litter box for my cats. I love my cats, not a problem, okay? So we went through everything and we had our decisions. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, negotiate some things. And I'll talk more about that when I tell you about the last time we just renegotiated. If you don't do that, sometimes this resentment builds up because, has this ever happened to you? You wash the dishes every night, okay? Your husband comes home and he washes them one night and he thinks angels should be singing and there should be a brass band playing, okay? Because he washed the dishes. And you're kind of like, okay, well, I do it all the time and there's no brass band, there's no excitement, there's no celebration, woo, wash dishes. And yet, when the other person does it, it's supposed to be a big party. Well, for us, that's not a problem, because if it's my job to do the laundry, and I come home from a conference, which has happened, and he did the laundry, well, baby, the brass band is playing, because he did something on my chore list, okay? So then, that's great. Then when you want to do something to help your partner, you've got something. You can, I'll do something to help them that's on their list. But everybody has that list, and you know what your job is. And even in the beginning of our relationship, you know, we'd be like, oh, you know, God, the litter box needs to be changed. Like, he would say, well, it's not on my list, you know, and the same thing. And I would do is like, yeah, but not on my list. Do you want to renegotiate? So you just didn't have a fight because you knew what was on your list and because you chose it. You said, okay, I'll do this if you do this, okay? So it just truly will eliminate so many fights that people get in because they just don't think about it. They think if they got along well before, when they start cohabitating, that everything will be fine. And a lot of times that's the kind of thing it is. You also have to know that, like, what things bother that person. Okay, like for me, we talked about that too. Like, I want my bathtub clean. I cannot stand a bathtub that's dirty. But there might be other stuff that's like, I can, you know, have a little stuff on the counter or something like that. So you need to know that. And by having the discussion of the chore list, it lets you know. Like if I say, well, I need to clean I need to do the tubs. I'm doing the bathrooms because if it's not clean the way I want it, it's crazy, okay? I'm gonna go nuts. Or I'm real anal about, I want my clothes, I don't want them dried. I want them 5 minutes in the dryer. Then I want them hung up because this girl ain't ironing. All right? So it's about finding out that by having this discussion. How many people have ever done that? It has been amazing. Yet people start lives, whether it's a marriage or living together or roommates, and they never talk about who's going to do what and why. Or they just assume that someone is going to do this. Well, I assumed that you were going to do it. Well, I assumed you were going to do it. Well, then nobody does it, and then you're having a fight. So you sit down, you list everything that needs to be done, and then just take turns choosing chores. Which one do you want? Which one do you want? Negotiate it, okay? When we moved into our other house, we had an apartment first. So when we first got married, we negotiated. When we moved into our house, well, there were new things that had to get done that were different in a house than an apartment. So we renegotiated. Okay, then that lasted, 19 years. When 3 years ago, he retired. Okay, so then he was like, well, I think we need to renegotiate the list because I'm home and I can do more things. So he actually took over the laundry, and that was awesome. He's been doing almost everything for 3 years. Well, now I'm retired. So the other day, last Saturday, Friday, I'm confusing my days now, we pulled that list out, talked about it again. I'm taking back the laundry. I like doing the laundry, not a problem. He's doing the floors, and he's like, but I hate taking all your makeup containers off the counter and doing the counters. No problem. I'll clean the counters, you clean the floor. All right? No problems. Now, if we don't renegotiate, if we don't talk about it, I'm used to him doing everything because I'm working. Now I'm home. I could be on a computer working on my makeup business, and he's doing everything, and what would happen? Resentment, because he's like, well, she ain't working and she's not doing anything. So this just solves so many problems before they happen. Chore list, chore list. So anytime something changes, talk about renegotiating. If something happens where the person can't do it, again, all right, well, I'll take that and you take this, okay? One of the things my husband negotiated this week was he does do the cooking, or we'll go pick up whatever we want, because I'm like a pizza queen. I love pizza. I could eat pizza every day. He is like, we can't have pizza every day. I'm like, why? Is there a law against that? Because I could eat pizza every day. But anyway, I digress. But he hates like deciding. All right. So his big thing, in fact, he said, I'll keep doing everything if you just make a menu. If you just decide every day what you want, I'll cook it. I was like, no, you don't have to keep doing everything. We're going to negotiate, but I'll do that. So we're going to see how that works. So far, past couple of days, he says, what do you want? And I'm saying something. So we shall see if that works. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to start looking up menu ideas and things like that for him. So this is just, like I said, it's not something that is wow, amazing. It's not difficult though, but some people, it's an easy, simple thing. Sometimes it's just these like simple tricks or tips that you find out, and it's like, wow, what a difference that has made in our marriage, because we have never once in all these years thought about the house, the cleaning, the chores, the garbage, all the things that have to get done, and people fight about that all the time. And that's a silly thing to fight about when all you have to do is make your chore list. So as I said, I'm talking about it in terms of a husband and wife, but all you people that are just starting college or getting a new roommate, talk about it with them. if you're getting ready to get married, anything at all that you are living, if you have a child come back, okay, you know, they go to college and they come back, negotiate that chore list with them. Because what happens is with parents a lot of times will be like, well, he should know, right? Man, well, I can remember when my son, I hope he ain't watching this. My son, I would put the garbage bag like in front of the door for him to put it out, and he would like walk over it to go out. And I'm like, finally I was just like, son, you don't see that bag there? Yeah, well, I didn't know what you wanted. It's like, I want you to put it out. That's what I want. You know, so sometimes like we just assume that people know. So after that, my daughter can tell you, because she's on here, when she would wake up in the morning, I was going to work, she was home, she had a list of things that had to be done by the end of the day by the time I got home, all right? If you tell people what they need to do, if you negotiate and make sure everybody's got a job, then everything gets done. There's no fighting and there's no resentment. So that is my relationship advice for everybody today. So I truly appreciate you listening to ThibTalk. I hope that you will share it. I hope that you will try it out, okay? Even if you are already married and think that, oh, we don't have that problem. I don't know. Maybe you should sit down and talk about it, because I think you'll find that everybody is different. So where one person will be like, I'm not doing the laundry, and the next person will say, no, I don't think I can, you know, handle doing the dishes, okay? Everybody has their own little niches of what they like and what they don't like. All right, so again, thank you so much for your time, and stay tuned for the next ThibTalk.